Right now at noon, a semi swerves to avoid a crash in Oklahoma City and goes over the edge of the overpass.
And as if on schedule, showers and thunderstorms beginning to roll into the area. We'll tell you where the storms are now, where they're going, and about the possible strong storms coming up.
And an accident involving 10 cars kills a man from Neosho.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Missouri State Highway Patrol releases details regarding a 10-vehicle collision on Friday afternoon that claimed the life of a Neosho, Missouri man. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Amber Jenkins. The chain reaction rear-ender crash occurred at 4:45 p.m. on I-44 West, about 2 miles west of Mount Vernon. 9 of the vehicles involved were in stop traffic approaching bridge work at the Firestone double bridges. The chain reaction crash started as a tractor-trailer driven by Patrick Joner, 53 of Jefferson, Georgia, struck the Neosho man's vehicle from behind. Roger Alexander, 37 of Neosho, was driving a 2015 BMW 550i. He was airlifted to Mercy Springfield, where he was pronounced dead at 6:50 p.m. Next of kin were notified. The crash report reveals 3 others involved suffered minor injuries and a moderate injury. All were transported to Mercy and Joplin for care. A semi-crash leaves a cab dangling from the I-44 overpass in Oklahoma City. The crash happened Sunday morning. The driver of the semi tells Oklahoma Highway Patrol another vehicle cut him off, which caused him to swerve and go over the bridge. Oklahoma City firefighters used a ladder truck to rescue the driver and the passenger. Both driver and passenger escaped the wreckage with no injuries. One person under the overpass sustained a head injury when they were struck by falling debris. Here's Chris with the forecast.
Yeah, we've thrown the windshield wiper on our camera at 7th and Range Line, and there it goes because rain's starting to move into the Joplin area, and of course the way it's falling just happens to be piling up on our lens here, and we wanted to give you a pretty good shot of this, and look, here comes already splashing back on there. Watched just moments ago, within about 10 minutes, it started raining on the MoDOT camera at 32nd and Range Line and the one at I-44 and Range Line. And then you watch it just slowly creep up from south to north. And that's with this big thunderstorm that's developed over Newton County. Up near Pittsburgh, the KDOT camera at 69 and 400. Not raining yet, but those skies getting darker because there's another storm just to the south of that location. So here's a wide view on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. This is our biggest thunderstorm right now. No severe weather at the moment, but that's our biggest one. We've got this little guy forming here just south of Pittsburgh. We're going to take a closer look. We got more back to the south across McDonald and Lawrence counties. We've got this one here just entering the east sides of Joplin, and this little guy just to the south of Pittsburgh right now. And you take a look at the look back, these have erupted fairly quickly, and we do have the environment for some strong, possibly low-grade severe storms. And in southwest Missouri, some of us, we got a flood watch kicking in through 10 o'clock tonight, and that will begin at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has added a low-end tornado risk for some of our eastern counties, so that's something we'll keep an eye on. We still have the possibility of some small hail and perhaps some gusty winds with these storms. We'll take a complete look at that forecast and how long the storms stick around here in just a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. The Harbor Village hosts an American Heritage Colonial Frontiers Day. The event was meant to show and represent what the colonial times from 1700 to 1860 looked like. Community members were invited to see artifacts and heritage skills of the colonial times.
We do this for home schools, public schools, anyone that wants to learn the education of any time frame that we choose to be able to represent here. And that's anything from 1700 all the way on up until about 1920.
Over the weekend, over 500 people attended the event. Bladesmiths from across the country gathered in Quapaw, Oklahoma for the highly anticipated 3rd annual Forge in the Fire face-off. KOAM Sagun Bamadelli has more.
The event held on Main Street in Quapaw showcased the skills and craftsmanship of talented artisans in the world of bladesmithing.
We got master smiths and knife makers from the 4-state area around here. We're having knife judging. We're doing some competitions, a little grudge match, a knife show. Just a good little get together.
The knife forging event brought out the young and old of the Quapaw community.
We like this event because we're able to give the community a chance to meet some of these celebrities from the show, and to get a chance to see what they do in person, and a big chance to see what they have when they sell what they sell.
There were several types of knives that were showcased.
Of knives here, there's everyday carry type knives, Bowie knives, there is stock removal knives, forged knives. There's a lot of forged knives here. Master Smith Ray Kirk's going to be doing some demonstrations. It's a really fun event.
Phil Evans, a veteran of a popular knife forging TV show, Forged in Fire, says it is great to see young blacksmiths.
It's really neat being on somebody that was on the first season of Forged in Fire, and now I think we're on season 9 or 10, and there's people here that are up and coming on season 10. They're actually at this show, and there might even be some future Forged in Fire champions here right now.
In Kwapo, Shegbamdele, KOAM News.
The event was free to the public. Less than a week after the policy known as Title 42 ended, the situation along the southern border is much calmer than many expected. The pandemic-era policy turned away migrants to help stem the spread of COVID. Skylar Henry has the latest from Washington.
Significantly fewer migrants have been crossing the border from Mexico in the past 2 days, and U.S. officials say the 50% drop is evidence that their new rules are working.
They have gone down. My hope is they'll continue to go down, but we have a lot more work to do.
The Biden administration is turning away anyone who didn't first seek asylum in a country they traveled through to reach the U.S. border. In addition, migrants caught crossing illegally will not be allowed to return for 5 years and can face criminal prosecution if they do.
We've already removed thousands of people who have arrived at our southern border.
But Republicans say the numbers are still unacceptable and that detention facilities in southern border communities are dangerously overcrowded, including this one in El Paso, Texas.
There's over 6,000 people that are in custody. In this particular facility, it's meant to house 1,000 people. It's housing over 3,000. Just this week, there was a migrant child that died in HHS custody.
President Biden and numerous local leaders along the border are calling on Congress to pass bipartisan immigration reform, but nothing has happened.
I think this is not a Democratic or Republican problem. It's an American problem, and things should have been done a long time ago.
Even with border crossings going down, the union representing patrol agents says around 25,000 migrants were being held in U.S. Customs and Border Protection facilities. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
President Biden says he has no plans to visit the border anytime soon because it would be disruptive. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes. Up next on the KOAM News at noon. The city of Joplin looks at a potential ordinance to ban the sale of shooter bottles in the city. And later, we're making berry grape chicken salad in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Today, the Joplin City Council will consider a potential ordinance that aims to prohibit the sale of alcohol in shooter bottles. KOAM Sagun Bamadeli has more.
According to the City Council's bill, shooters are easier to conceal and disproportionately contribute to the violation of city code. These shooter bottles are commonly used for selling alcohol in quantities of 100 millimeters or less.
Or whatever decision they make, that's going to help solve the issue of not just the trash these bottles create, but the overall communal impact of what it does for our mental health in our region.
John Buck is the co-founder of IS Society, a non-profit organization that helps clean the city of Joplin. He says he is in favor of a ban, even when some disapprove of the ban.
We clean up every Sunday morning. We start at 7:30 a.m. and clean up for 5.5 miles in Joplin. And every week we're picking up the same type of trash every week, and the most prominent are these shooter bottles.
The city has bigger problems to deal with than some little 50 ml bottle. What's next? Somebody didn't clean up after their dog at the park, so now we're going to ban anyone from having pets in the park. We're going to ban cars because somebody honked after 10 o'clock. Nobody can drive on the streets. What are we going to ban next?
Lynette Lewis, a manager at Jog's Liquor Store, says the ban will affect city's revenue.
outside city limits is going to pick up huge in the sales of the 50 ml bottles because people that want those bottles are still going to go get them. They're just going to drive 5 minutes farther to pick it up at another liquor store.
John Buck tells me that his non-profit company, which does local cleanups around the city of Joplin, has picked up over 50,000 shooter bottles in 4 months. Reporting in Joplin, Shagmamdele, KOAM News.
Today's council meeting will have the first reading of the ordinance. Since it's not an emergency ordinance, 3 votes at 3 council meetings are required to pass it. Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you're looking for something different to serve at a graduation party, bridal shower, or maybe you're just looking for something light and bright, we've got just the thing.
We've got thunderstorms rolling through the area right now, and we've got more on the way later this week. We'll talk about all of those storm chances when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So we promised thunderstorms right around the noon hour, and guess what we've got forming outside? Well, it's thunderstorms, and they're on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Got a pretty good-sized storm just right on the eastern side of the Joplin area, and we've got a few more beginning to develop across the area. So we're going to show you all of those storms. I guarantee you we're going to show you all of those storms just as soon as we, want to bring them more full coverage, more full screen to you. But we do have these showers and thunderstorms moving across the area, and I tell you what, because I think we may be having some issues back there. I'm not entirely certain, but we're not, there we go. I figured there was probably a stuck button, because in the world of technology, it's all just, it's a button, and it gets stuck sometimes, and I get that. So here's those showers and thunderstorms, and here's that bigger guy we were talking about, just right across eastern Jasper and Newton counties. It's not strong, it's not severe, but it's our biggest thunderstorm that we've got, and it's been spreading rain into parts of Joplin. You can see there's a couple of lightning strikes. It was a little more active earlier, and it's kind of calmed down. Then we go over here. This is that little cell that was just south of Pittsburgh, now moving along the west side of Pittsburgh. And of course, we've got other storms across the area, but the stronger storms are going to be developing right in through here. And here are more of them developing back through McDonald and Newton counties, back into Benton County, and back through Ottawa and Delaware counties in northeast Oklahoma, continuing to lift off to the north. And because these storms are going to just boom, just be here. We do have a flood watch that is officially kicking in through 10 o'clock for parts of southwest Missouri. So that's something that we do need to keep an eye on with the heavy rain potential. And on top of that, we've got the potential for some stronger storms out there. Now, as we go through the evening, the system that's been bringing us these scattered storms over the last couple of days is going to start to shift to the east. So our storms will stop moving from south to north and start pushing off from west to east. But they'll stick with us. They become more scattered as the evening and overnight hours progress, but there will still be a few of them out there. And then roughly by sunrise tomorrow, we'll see the end of those storms. So in terms of stronger storms, here's a quick look at what we've got. There is now a low-end tornado risk for the eastern portions of southwest Missouri. It doesn't quite make it to Joplin. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center lists Carthage as the westernmost city, but it is there, and it's the same with this low-end hail risk and a risk for some strong winds out there. The risk overall is relatively low, but it is there. Similar to yesterday, how we dealt with a couple of severe thunderstorms out there, but the majority of the activity remained below severe levels, and that's kind of the expectation today. Rain is falling across the city of Joplin. You can see it 7th and Range Line. Taking a look at different MoDOT cameras across the city, the rain falling, but starting to let up on the south side as this bigger cell starts to roll on out of here. But again, more rain on the way. We did get some rainfall on the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. All right, we're sitting at 76 in Joplin right now. Dew point is up there. Humidity, of course, is up there. North breeze at 7. And over in Pittsburgh, we are sitting at 75, and that dew point 72. That is a very soupy atmosphere out there. Across the area, temperatures look about like this. 72 in Fort Scott, 73 Chanute, 75 Parson Chitopa, 78 in Miami, 80 in Anderson. So we've got the warmth and we've got the energy for these storms. We go through the rest of the day, again, still looking at highs pushing right around 80 degrees. Storm coverage will increase as the afternoon continues, and then we'll have those scattered storms going on through the overnight. And we get a little cooler tonight, back into the lower 60s. Even upper 50s. We're going to spend most of tomorrow cloudy to mostly cloudy and cooler, talking mid, maybe upper 60s out there. And as we look at the week ahead, We've got warming back up on Wednesday, and then thunderstorm chances return Thursday evening and Friday evening across the area, and a better chance on Friday. And then we've got an absolutely beautiful weekend ahead of us. Partly cloudy, low to mid 70s, and as we kick off the next work week, we go into the lower 80s with some partly cloudy skies.
Well, just like I say with every week, if I can survive this week, I have a beautiful weekend waiting for me.
Yeah, and that's going to be the case, and we absolutely need this rain, and it's just fantastic to be able to get this.
All right, well, thank you, Chris. Stick around. We're making berry grape chicken salad in the Mr. Food Test kitchen after the break. Today, we're making berry grape chicken salad in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
We recently came up with a recipe that I thought would be great if you're looking for something different to serve at a graduation party or bridal shower. It's also nice when you're craving something light and bright to serve for lunch or dinner. It's a twist on chicken salad that goes together like this. The first thing we do is cut some cooked chicken into chunks. As for the chicken, that can be boiled, roasted, grilled. Even easier, we can use rotisserie chicken. To that, we add some chopped celery, an apple that we've cut up, a bunch of grapes that we've cut in half, and about a cup of assorted berries. Instead of tossing this with the usual mayonnaise, to lighten things up, we toss this with a healthy amount of vanilla yogurt. And to give this a nice crunch, we add some chopped walnuts. After it chills, it's ready to serve. And whether you serve it on some mixed greens or stuffed in a sandwich, it's pretty darn tasty and colorful. So here's what I suggest. Go to our website and print out a copy of our berry grape chicken salad recipe. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a light and bright way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, so we've got those showers and thunderstorms across the area, and they will continue. Again, a couple of those could be strong, possibly severe, so we keep an eye on that for you. Still up to about 80 for the high, much cooler tomorrow, 67. Warmer on Wednesday and Thursday, and more much-needed rain chances Thursday and Friday before we get a pretty pleasant weekend. Partly cloudy, low to mid-70s.
We'll take some more rain. We could use it for sure.
Definitely.
Here's what's coming up today at 5. Some 50,000 Americans die every year from pancreatic cancer. A disease is often called a silent killer because it's detected too late. But now a simple blood test is giving doctors and high-risk patients a new weapon. We're going to meet a woman who lost her sister and brother to pancreatic cancer and is taking part in a screening program. Plus, the Memorial Day holiday weekend less than 2 weeks away. AAA predicts it's going to be very busy in the air, with an estimated 3.4 million passengers packing airports, the second most on record. And the Pitt State University president hits the road for a 12-day bike ride while raising funds for scholarships. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
And thank you for joining us at KOAM at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.